Thank you for listening to today's episode of Medical Device Global Market Access by Pure Global. Today we are turning our attention to Brazil, a key market in Latin America, and a significant regulatory update from its health authority, ANVISA. Specifically, we will be discussing Normative Instruction 290/2024, which introduces a more flexible and efficient amendment process for the regulatory reliance pathway. This change, which became effective in June 2026, is particularly important for manufacturers of higher-risk Class 3 and Class 4 medical devices who are looking to streamline their market entry into Brazil. Previously, the regulatory reliance pathway in Brazil, while beneficial, had a critical rigidity. If a manufacturer submitted an application for a Class 3 or Class 4 device based on an existing approval from a recognized comparable foreign regulatory authority, or AREE, any minor deficiencies, inconsistencies, or missing information in the submission would often lead to an outright rejection. This meant the entire process had to be restarted, causing significant delays and additional costs. Under the new framework established by Normative Instruction 290/2024, ANVISA has shifted its approach. Instead of outright rejection for these minor issues, the agency can now issue official questions and request revisions or additional information from the applicant. This creates an interactive review dialogue, allowing manufacturers to correct their submissions without facing a complete denial. This update directly impacts medical device manufacturers who have already secured market approval in one of the 4 jurisdictions recognized by ANVISA as having a comparable regulatory system. These are Australia's Therapeutic Goods Administration, TGA, Health Canada, the United States Food and Drug Administration, FDA, and Japan's Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare, MHLW, along with the Pharmaceuticals and Medical Devices Agency, PMDA. By leveraging an approval from one of these AREEs, manufacturers can use the optimized reliance pathway. The new flexibility makes this pathway significantly less risky and more predictable, encouraging more companies with established approvals to consider Brazil as a viable and attractive market for their high-risk devices. The effective date for this new procedure was June 2026. This means that any reliance submissions for Class 3 and 4 devices reviewed after this date are subject to this more interactive process. While this change is overwhelmingly positive, it does introduce a new obligation for manufacturers. When ANVISA issues a request for information, applicants must respond promptly and thoroughly within the specified timeframe. Failing to provide a satisfactory response could still lead to delays or rejection. Therefore, regulatory teams must be prepared to engage with ANVISA during the review cycle, treating it as an active dialogue rather than a passive submission process. So what practical actions should your team consider in light of this change? First, we recommend that companies with pending reliance applications in Brazil prepare for this new interactive phase. Instead of waiting for a binary approve or reject decision, anticipate potential questions and have your technical experts ready to provide clarifications. Second, it is crucial to update your internal standard operating procedures, or SOPs, for Brazilian market submissions. Your procedure should now include a clear process for managing and responding to ANVISA's inquiries, including defined responsibilities and timelines within your regulatory affairs team. Third, if your company holds approvals from the US, Canada, Australia, or Japan, but has been hesitant about the Brazilian market due to regulatory hurdles, now is the time to reevaluate. This more forgiving process significantly de-risks the submission strategy. Finally, while the process is more flexible, it does not mean a reduction in scrutiny. Ensure that your technical dossier is as complete and robust as possible from the outset. Clearly justify any differences between the device approved by the AREE and the version intended for the Brazilian market to preemptively address potential questions from ANVISA. This shift by ANVISA represents a welcome move towards global regulatory harmonization and efficiency, making Brazil a more accessible market for innovative medical technologies. If your company needs assistance navigating the Brazilian regulatory landscape or developing a global market access strategy, we invite you to check out Pure Global. For more resources, including free AI-powered regulatory tools and a comprehensive device database, please check the description of this episode. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.